And here we go. We should be live. Let me check on my let me check and make sure that I'm live. Because God knows yesterday they gave me a blank screen for the first couple of minutes. Yeah, it's still that blank screen. Where's my picture? Where's my picture? Why is my picture not there? Don't worry, folks. I'm working on it. Is that going to do it? Why are we doing this? Okay, StreamYard, I don't know why you decided to start acting funny now, even though I've been doing these with the computer for a while. Yeah, I know. I'm working on it. I don't know why it's doing this. That's annoying. All right, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to... Oh, hey, there it is. I don't know, man. I don't know why StreamYard be doing this lately. I'm going to blame StreamYard because, like, you could see that even though the screen was black, it still had up, like, this stuff here in the corners, whatever corners it's in. Yeah, there's picture now. So, anyway, here we are once again with another Universal Monsters unboxing, kind of. I'll have more to say about that in a minute. But this is the Phantom of the Opera is here inside your mind. Yeah, I'm no Michael Crawford. I'm not even a Gerard Butler. But I would say that nowadays probably the most popular, most well-known version of this character is the lavish Andrew Lloyd Webber Broadway musical, which I do enjoy. I thought that was a really good musical. In fact, I actually saw it live at the Fabulous Fox in Atlanta, Georgia, and like that was quite a thing to see. I enjoyed watching it. But my favorite version of this character is always going to be this guy, Lon Chaney, from the original silent 1925 Phantom of the Opera movie. You know, like not a lot of people watch silent movies nowadays, but I'm a weirdo, so I'll watch a silent movie every now and then. But this is definitely one of my favorites of the silent movies. This one, Metropolis, a lot of really good Nosferatu, a lot of really good ones. If you know what to look for, that still I feel like hold up today, and you know, kind of, you know, they worked with what they had back then. And what they had was silent movies, and they made it work, you know. I kind of feel like the best silent movies don't even really need a whole lot of title cards because you just kind of can figure out what the characters are saying to each other by, you know, their, you know, body language and facial expressions and things like that. And this guy was one of the greatest actors of all time. He was probably like one of the first biggest movie stars, and he was also a master of like makeup, and a lot of actors did their own makeup back then, and he did some of the best. Hang on, I forgot my flashlight. So yesterday when I was doing Bride of Frankenstein, where is that flashlight? There it is. Yesterday, when I was doing Bride of Frankenstein, I'd met to, you know, kind of show you guys what she looks like when she glows. And I was going to use my flashlight to do that. And I think I got distracted by when I knocked over the soda. So anyway, if I shine the flashlight really bright on her, it should be enough that we can see her glow. Ooh, that's pretty, isn't it? But I did make sure that I put a picture in the as a community post. So there's one there if you're interested in seeing her. And there's some other pictures where I got fancy with the flashlight and I was doing shadows and things like that. But yeah, we're gonna try to remember to do that with Phantom of the Opera also. So anyway, yeah, Lon Chaney did all his own makeup. He was known as the man of 1,000 faces. There was a saying at the time that if you saw like an insect or some kind of critter scurrying around on the ground, don't step on it. It might be Lon Chaney. So unfortunately, he died like way too young, right as talkies were beginning to become a thing. And unlike a lot of actors who found their careers over when talkies became a thing, Chaney did one movie that he absolutely flourished in, and I think he would have had a great career in the talkies if he had not died of cancer, unfortunately, far too young. Apparently, he was Universal's first choice to play Count Dracula, and that movie was kind of being primed as a way to lure him back to the studio from MGM, but unfortunately, he passed away. But it was fortunate for a young man named Bela Lugosi who started his career. So here's what the back looks like, and we can see it's got all of the characters that were made into figures by Remco in the line that this is an homage to way back in the days, the old mini monsters. So they managed to get all of those characters made into glow-in-the-dark characters, and I now have almost all of these except for Creature. I don't have Creature from Black Lagoon, unfortunately. He's a little too cost prohibitive. He's like the cheapest one I saw was like $125. So I'm like, that's probably not going to happen. Very nice piece of artwork. You know, a photograph of Chaney kind of crushed out. Not quite as crushed out as they did on the old Remco packages, but this is the seam still that they used on there. Now here's something interesting. If you look at these other packages, you'll see that their names have Universal City Studios right above. See, Universal City Studios, The Mummy, Universal City Studios, Bride of Frankenstein, and of course they've got that newer Universal Monsters trademark on there, that sort of rectangular block there, you see that. But you'll notice that is missing from Phantom of the Opera. It does not say Universal City Studios Phantom of the Opera. It does not have the Universal Monsters logo on it. It does have a Universal logo on the back and a Chaney logo on the back also. But I think that probably has more to do with the fact that it's got the other Universal Monsters on it. See there, we got that rectangular logo that I was talking about there, and the actual like Universal globe over here. Now, why is it not labeled the same as the others? Well, because this movie fell into public domain. Universal at the time, I guess, didn't see the point in renewing some, archaic silent movie that, like who watches silent movies anymore? And they let the copyright lapse. So this movie's on public domain. You can watch it on YouTube right now, actually. Like, well, when you're done watching this video, obviously. You want to finish watching this video. But yeah, so like Phantom of the Opera, you can watch this on YouTube for free. It's on there. So if you've never seen it, I definitely would recommend it. It's a good watch. It's a good watch, especially if you don't mind watching a silent movie. So I'm going to open them up. And they definitely have better glue on this one than they had on Bride of Frankenstein. So he's coming right off, but still kind of tearing the package a little bit. I did manage to get it off without messing up the artwork too much, which is my main goal as far as doing that. So, and also, I noticed on the Red Death Phantom of the Opera, this will be the next thing I open. That one also does not have the Universal Monsters logo on there at the bottom. You can see like the Mummy has that. So I'm guessing they didn't pay any royalties to Universal for the use of Phantom of the Opera, the character or the likeness or anything like that. But they did give some money to Lon Chaney's estate. So that's nice. It's nice that the Chaney family got a little bit of dough. Dominic Z is here, and he says hi. Hi right back at you. So if we look at his suit underneath, you see he's got this bright red tie and this bright red vest, and that is indeed how the Remco version of this was produced way back in the day. and he's got that kind of chintzy, kind of cheesy vinyl cape, which again, this is how they did action figure capes in the 80s, folks. It's like it's a Star Wars type of cape. So Star Wars was like probably the biggest action figure line going at the time. So they were kind of trying to do the Universal monsters in that Star Wars action figure format, and we loved them for it. We loved these figures when we were kids. Like I remember finding these in a drugstore when I went there with my grandmother. And like I'd said before, she was a fan of the Universal monsters, so she was only too happy to let me pick out two. So I got Dracula and Frankenstein, and unfortunately had to leave the Wolfman behind. But it is what it is. But I did love those Remco figures. I thought they were pretty great. Phantom of the Opera was a character that I was just not familiar with at all at the time, so I had no idea what was up with that. But not long afterwards, I saw the Munsters Revenge TV reunion movie, and they had as a character in there cousin Phantom of the Opera, and they didn't spring too many brain cells on that one, did they? But they did a really good job with his makeup in there and looked just like the Chaney version, so that's good. The paint job is kind of simplified on this, like it is on most of these figures, but I do think it has a little more detail to it. Like there's a little bit of a wash over the cheekbones, and I was playing around with the glow in the dark on this a little bit earlier through the packaging, but you can see giving it that little bit of a wash actually gives it some shading when he's glowing, and I think that looks really cool. Earth Dude is here, and he says, "Ayo, Alan Dude, ayo, right back at you." Dominic Z says, "I got some exciting news. We finally have the first images of the Jada Toys 132 scale Speed Racer Mach 5. Oh, yeah. And I'm a big fan of the original Speed Racer cartoon. I grew up watching that when I was a kid. And I'm actually a big fan of the Wachowskis live action Speed Racer movie. I thought they did a really good job with that. That's a movie that like man, I don't know how that movie bombed, but I always said that StreamYard messed up my it does this sometimes. It messes up how I type things, so I'm gonna have to edit it. I'll fix it later. It'll be fine. It says Phanto of H Opera. I don't know how it does that, but I'll fix it later. It'll be fine. Bobby Wall says, "Did you see the Tron HasLab? Looks nice, but way overpriced for 3 3/4 inch." Yeah, it's like I'm not going to be able to afford that. And like I'm a huge fan of the movie Tron. If that was something that was just going to be, coming out in stores, I'd be super excited about it. But I can't afford to drop like $300, I think it was, on 6 action figures and 6 motorcycles. Like, sorry, I can't. I ain't a rich dude. I can't be dropping that much money on something like that. Dominic says, "We're still waiting on first images of the Jada Toys 132 scale Pizza Planet truck, also coming out this year." Well, hopefully I'll have episodes soon then. Anywho, so yeah, I didn't see the silent movie until years later. I think I was maybe in 5th grade or something. And they were running it on A&E, back when A&E was a channel that was dedicated to classy fare. And they were one of the few channels on television that would actually show silent movies from time to time. And that's where I actually saw a lot of silent movies for the first time, including Phantom of the Opera. And I got to tell you, I was just entranced by Chaney's performance. I already, like I said, he was considered one of the greatest actors of all time. And seeing him in action, I definitely was very impressed with his performance, and became a fan of this guy for life. He's definitely one of my favorite actors personally. And like I said, it's a shame that he died so young. That he probably could have had like even more of an impact if he'd had more talkies under his belt, I think. But just having the one, The Unholy 3 is the name of that one, if you're wanting to check that out. But anyway, let's go ahead and talk about Phantom's articulation. So Phantom can look up about that far, look down about that far, tilt his head kind of quizzically from side to side, rotate the head all the way around. And of course, since it's NECA, it's got another neck. It's got a joint where the neck meets the base of the skull and where the neck meets the shoulders. It tucks into the collar there, so you can get a lot of good movement out of that. Of course, the arms rotate all the way around. I'm going to take off this cape actually because I think that'll make it a little easier to show off his articulation. First, I'm going to pull off his hands because, like, I don't want this cape to snag on anything. Anybody who had like these action figures back in the 80s with these type of vinyl capes, be it Star Wars or Universal Monsters or whatever, you know that they have a tendency to tear very easily if you put them on like in the wrong way. So we're going to go ahead and just take the hands off just so I've got less for it to snag on. And then we can also get a better look at the figure underneath. I probably should have done that already, but I wasn't thinking about it. All right, so here we go. That's what he looks like without the cape. And you see they got a lot of good detail to the suit. There's the coat tail hanging down, and that's one solid piece. It's not vented in the middle. He's got a vest that, like, the hem of the vest just barely reaches the top of the pants. Like, I think they're supposed to just kind of fit together, and they don't really overlap in the way that I kind of feel like it would have been better. So sometimes his pants will wind up overlapping over the top of his vest if you don't have it fit just right. So anyway, the arms rotate all the way around the shoulders, as we can see, and they raise up to the sides about that far. Doesn't appear to be any kind of bicep swivel on this, but he does have the single joint of articulation at the elbow, which bends in about that far. Good range of motion at the elbow. And then, of course, that rotates all the way around. It's a little stiff on mine, but that's to be expected. This is a brand new toy. The wrists, of course, rotate all the way around, and they look to have a horizontal hinge, which can go back and forth like that. Very cool. No mid-torso articulation. It looks like the only torso articulation is here at the waist, and that can tilt back and forth somewhat. It can tilt back and forth, frontwards and backwards, left and right. Not as much as you might like, but it does have a little bit of movement there. And of course, rotates all the way around at the waist. So there we go. Phantom can kick up about that far, and he's got a single joint of articulation at the knee. Doesn't quite bend 90 degrees, and then that rotates all the way around. He's got some kind of bell-bottom looking pants, which I think was probably unusual back in the 1920s. They look a little more 1970s style to me. Maybe Phantom was just a little ahead of his time as far as his clothing, but it does kind of help to make his legs look kind of skinny. And I kind of figure that would have been something Chaney would have done on purpose, trying to make himself look as bony as possible. You can see the sleeves kind of flare out like that too, and they don't have cufflinks on them holding the jacket together at the sleeves. He does have cufflinks on his shirt cuffs. So yeah, a lot of good detail there. And you can see he's got kind of high heels, like almost like the Phantom, like doesn't want to, wants to look a little taller than he really is. So he wears some high heels. I mean, Phantom is all about like theatricality and presenting an image and that kind of thing. So it makes sense to me. He'd want to make himself look taller. You know what I mean? And the shoes do look really nice. They got kind of pointy toes, and I like the way that they handled those. So the foot can point down about that far, point up about that far, and it does rotate all the way around. But also since it's got that kind of bell-bottom pants leg, they're going to kind of bump into the pants legs a little bit. So that's just going to happen. Well, let's get another look at, even though I already talked about it a little bit, let's go ahead and get another look at him with the glow in the dark going on. And this flashlight is so bright, it actually does make it so you can see that he does indeed glow. I'll put a picture up in the community post of him with the with his face actually glowing, so we can get a good look at that. Dominic says Jada has also made a remote-controlled model of the Stitch buggy from Lilo and Stitch. Well, that ought to sell, because, like, I figure, that movie did really well. And the thing is, like, I heard a lot of people talking smack about that movie, and they did not like the way that it ended. And, it was, this is just bothering me. I'm going to update it right now. Phantom of the Opera. This, the wrong button. There we go. Typo. All right. Save changes. So now it should have the title spelled properly. So that should be Phantom of the Opera, Lon Chaney, NECA, Glow in the Dark Universal Monsters Unboxing. Yeah, that's correct. So yeah, they did a really good job with this figure. The likeness is excellent. Like I said, since this is one of those glow in the dark figures, it does have like a little bit more of a cartoonish sort of quality to the paint on the face. But I actually kind of like that. Like, I kind of feel like that fits. That's kind of one of the things I like about these kind of more retro glow in the dark figures, is they do remind me a lot of they really nailed the look of the figures from the 1980s, and to me, like that almost seems more realistic in a way, because it reminds me a lot of the type of merchandise that we saw with these characters. Like I was talking about with Bride, they gave her black hair, and this wig was not a black wig in real life. She had red hair in real life. But a lot of the merchandise at the time depicted her as having black hair. So this is kind of how I thought of her growing up. I like her being a redhead, though. Oh, that's nice. But I got the more realistic NECA figure coming later on. I should be getting the Wolfman today, by the way. That says it's out for delivery. And so that's going to be another one that's going to be coming up soon. We're going to have Wolfman. We're going to have Frankenstein. Those are the Ultimate Editions. And the Mummy that you saw earlier. The Red Death Phantom. That's going to be the next figure that I open up. Final Girl 27 is here. She says, hey. So, hey, right back at you. So yeah, I'm really happy with how this figure turned out. Phantom is actually not one of the ones that I had growing, because like I said, I wasn't familiar with the character at all. I had no idea who he was. So I actually didn't have that one in those early days. But once I saw the silent movie, I was pretty fascinated with this character, and I've always really, not long after I saw the silent movie, and by the way, I did see the silent movie on the big screen too at the Fabulous Fox Theater in Atlanta. So I've seen two different versions of Phantom of the Opera at the Fox, both the live musical and the silent movie, and that was awesome, because at the Fabulous Fox, they have the Mighty Mo organ, and so they had a live organ accompaniment to it, and it's like this beautiful old movie palace. It's probably a lot of people actually watched Phantom back there in the 1920s. It's but yeah. And once the movie was over and the lights came up, the organist was wearing a Phantom of the Opera mask. So that was nice. I liked that. But it was definitely worth seeing this movie on the big screen. And even if you think you can't watch a silent movie, I guarantee you, if you go and you watch one, especially in an old movie house like a palace like the Fox Theater is, you go there and watch something, you'll get immersed in it. You won't even notice it's silent after a while. You're just into the story. So there's a lot of silent movies I'd probably like to see on the big screen like that. Metropolis being another one. I love Metropolis, and Nosferatu, of course. That would be like a great one to see. So yeah, that's pretty much it for Phantom of the Opera. I hope you enjoyed this episode, and if you did, please make sure that you like and subscribe. All the fun YouTube stuff down below. Leave a comment. Let me know what you think about this figure in specifically, and the Phantom of the Opera in general, and what's your favorite version of the story. I've seen like several movies of it, the Claude Rains movie, and the movie based on the musical, and the Hammer their version of Phantom of the Opera, and I still think Lon Chaney is the best one. Like that's to me, that's still kind of definitive version of the character. So next episode we're gonna talk about the Phantom of the Opera some more, because we got the Red Death version here, Ultimate Mask of the Red Death Phantom. So he's got some Edgar Allan Poe pedigree to him. I kind of wonder. I'll compare a little more closely if I think that this might be the same head sculpt, but he's kind of looking off to the side in the Red Death version, and he's looking straight ahead in the Glow in the Dark version. Obviously, the paint job is going to be different anyway, but I kind of wonder if that's the same head sculpt or not, because I know the original Phantom of the Opera figure they did, the one that this is a repaint of, that one came with several different head sculpts, and I'm not sure if the head sculpts are common in between the two versions or not. It would make sense if they were, but I probably should get the Ultimate Phantom of the Opera one of these days. But I really like this Glow in the Dark one. I'm glad to have him, and the Red Death one just looks so cool. So I can't wait to get that open. And of course, the Mummy. I've been sitting on this Mummy figure for a while. Like, long-time viewers of the channel have seen this Mummy figure sitting on my couch for like months. Like at this point, so I'm finally going to get around to opening up the Mummy. I guess I was just waiting on it to be Halloween time. So I've still got the Migo Nosferatu figure. We'll be opening up him at some point. We still got the Ultimate Frankenstein over here, and then we'll have the Ultimate Wolfman to open up, and we've got some other fun surprises in time for Halloween. So don't worry, we got a lot more stuff coming up for spooky season, and I'm probably gonna have some other stuff interspersed in between. Like I'm supposed to get my new Batgirl action figure today. I'm excited about that one. So she might get talked about a little bit in October, but she's a Batgirl, so she fits in with Halloween too, just fine, right? Right? Like she's a brainy redhead who cosplays as Batman. How can I not love that? The perfect woman doesn't exist. Oh, there's Barbara Gordon. Oh, never mind. But yeah, it's pretty much a repaint of do I have her over here? It's pretty much a repaint of this one that I already have, but they gave her a new head and a wired fabric cape, so I'm pretty excited about that one. But it mostly reuses a lot of these parts. I've got her over here ready to discuss once I finally get that, but it should be showing up today. Hopefully it's showing up today. They were claiming that it was going to show up before 225, but I don't see an update on it, so I'm thinking it probably isn't here yet. So I guess while I'm at it, I can have a look-see. Your driver, Franklin, is on the way. Yeah, Franklin's a pretty good FedEx driver. I've got no complaints about Franklin. But it is running a little. Yeah, see, now it says today by the end of the day. So Franklin is running a little bit late. But Franklin's a good dude. He usually does all right by me, so I'm not going to complain about Franklin too much. Franklin, if you're watching, you do good work. I always appreciate your work, even though you're a little bit late. Just a little bit late today. So just don't be much later. Would it be something if Franklin was somebody who actually watched these videos? Like, oh, hey, I delivered to that guy? Wow, small world. Anyway, that's it for this episode. I hope you enjoyed it. Please make sure that you like and subscribe and all the fun YouTube stuff down below. YouTube likes it when I say like and subscribe, so I like to say like and subscribe. I think it's over here right now. Hit the little bell if the little bell's still a thing. I don't know. I worry about the little bell. Is he okay? I haven't seen him in a while. Whatever that hype thing is, hit the hype thing. Final Girl says bye. We didn't have that much conversation today. Oh, I'm sorry you came in at the tail end of it. It happens sometimes, but you can go back and watch the rest of it if you want. Like, it might be worth watching. Who knows? So, and then of course, like I said, next episode, I'll be back with more Phantom of the Opera. So if you guys aren't sick of hearing me talk about Phantom of the Opera yet, you'll get to hear a little bit more when I open up the Red Death figure, which I'm looking forward to. He just looks so cool. So anyway, I think that's it for this episode. Please make sure you like and subscribe. I'll keep saying like and subscribe because YouTube likes it when I say like and subscribe. So please like and subscribe. Thanks for watching. I always appreciate you coming by and talking with me about action figures for a little bit. We will talk to you next time. Bye.